Hi, I'm Gohar Vardanyan, and welcome back to a new video. Today we have El Testament de Emilia, which is a popular Catalan song from the Catalonia region of northern Spain, and it's transcribed for the guitar by Miguel Llobet. A few of my students are working on this piece right now, and I thought since it's such a popular piece among students and intermediate players, it would be helpful to make a video sharing some of my tips for your practice, since I'm sure a lot of you are probably learning this piece right now as well. So for the full performance video, I will leave a link in the description box and in the info box. And in this video, we will continue with the lesson. So I would say this piece is more appropriate for an intermediate player, even though when you look at the page you will not see many notes. It might seem very sparse, but it's more difficult than it seems to play. So you would need to have some fluency on the fretboard in order to be able to make the piece sound good. So that being said, now the way you would go about playing the piece, I think the first mistake I see people make when they play this is to put too much emphasis on every single beat that they're playing. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, etc. I would say think of this piece as if it's in one. So what that means is, I'm sure you've heard the term a lot, think in one, feel in one. You have a time signature of 3/4, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But you don't want to really think even beats in terms of the volume and importance. You want to think of the first beat as the more important, and the 2, 3 is flexible, if that makes any sense, because this piece is going to require a lot of rubato. And if you think of 1, 2, 3, you're kind of structuring your first beat and second beat, and first, second, and third beats in specific locations, and you can't really play around with it. And really, the only notes you have here are quarter notes. There is no 16ths to fill in the time and maybe play with time that way. So if you think in one, then you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and those 2 3s, they're kind of negotiable where you put them, so you can really have a lot of room for rubato. So here, so my big pulse, the down beats here, like these, they will be on time. But when I play these notes, those I can make extra time, take extra time on them. And then here, you might take extra time on a second beat. And then maybe play these faster, so you get here on time. So your whole entire feeling is a much larger, very slow beat, and that will make it sound more like it's singing rather than 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That sounds too rhythmic for this piece. And it's not as easy as it seems, like when you're trying to do that. The first thing you can do is to really play the accompaniment super, super light, so you get used to hearing the melody on its own, as if it's a song being sung by a soprano voice, and try to listen to those dotted half notes and see how much you can sustain them. And then once you're only listening to the melody, you can start timing your accompaniment more freely to make it flow. Basically, in short, you're really using a lot of rubato, but what helps is thinking of the first beat as more important. And that's going to really be throughout the whole entire piece, because it's the same thing repeating twice. And if you use that kind of approach, the whole thing will sound more musical. The next section that's going to give you the most trouble is the artificial harmonics. And the best advice I have for you for playing artificial harmonics is to learn the left hand so you can play it blindfolded. So ignore the fact that you have to play harmonics in the right hand completely, and just learn the natural notes here, just plucking normally. But do it so that you can play it with your closed eyes. So you close your eyes and you go completely by feel. And so on. Because when you actually play the harmonics, your eyes are going to be looking right here, and you don't have the time or the ability to kind of like double check between here and here. So your left hand should totally go by feel, know exactly where it's going, so that all of your attention could be on finding the location of the harmonic. And if you're wondering how to play the artificial harmonics, I did a more detailed video on the Strings by Mail channel a long time ago. It's an old video, but the information is still relevant, so I'll link that below so you can kind of reference that. But in short, the artificial harmonics work just like natural harmonics. You need to find the location on the string where that harmonic occurs. And since the best and easiest one to get is the middle of the string, right? So our 12th fret is kind of like the best resonant harmonic you're going to find. Whenever you want to do the artificial ones, whatever fret you're playing, you're going to add 12 to it, so that that's going to be your new middle of the string. So if my open string, the middle is 12, my first fret is middle is 13, the second fret is 14. So for this piece, the first note I play is on the 5th fret. I add 12 to it, I get 17, and my harmonic will be on the 17th fret. And that's exactly the middle between here and where you're plucking. That will get you the most resonant harmonic. And then is your timing and your touch is what makes a note sound good or not so good. You have to make sure your third finger is as far away from the index as possible without being kind of ridiculous with a bad angle. Then you have to play around with what part of your nail you're going to touch. I try to use only my nail and not much flesh, because the flesh makes it sound muddy. So I aim for only nail. And your thumb, obviously, you can't really... individual notes are easier because you can really spread your hand, but with the basses, you're a little bit more constricted. And then it's timing of, after you pluck, there's a slight delay, and then you need to let go. So you can't leave your finger there, because you're literally muting the string that wants to vibrate. And you learn to move your hand. It helps to have a fake sleeve so that you don't get stuck if you're in the summer and short sleeves, because you're going to be moving around a lot. And then here, there's one chord where you need to have 3 notes, with the top note being a harmonic. And in that case, your A and I are still playing the harmonic, and your middle finger here is going to pluck that middle note, and the thumb plucks the bass. So those are the harmonics. They're very delicate. It's very easy to miss one or the other and get a little buzz or not get it clean. So that's probably what's going to be the most annoying thing about learning and performing this piece. And the other thing you have to think about, the harmonics are usually very quiet and delicate. I mean, you can try to make as much sound out of it as possible, but if you overplay them, they just won't sound good. That means that all of the natural notes that you play with the harmonics, you have to play them incredibly soft. So when you play these, I can't play this loud. As soon as I do this, you won't be able to hear the top. So you need to play your bass by barely touching the strings, all of these, so that the top harmonic notes have a chance. And the last thing that I would add, as a little bit of a warning of when you're playing this piece, is all of those glissandi that we are playing. Now, some editions will have more or less of them, but whenever you do the glissandi, be very careful not to play something like this, like dig into that, string to really get it loud. All of this fretboard noise, it just sounds more distracting than as an ornament. So when you play these, you need to be very, very light on the string. So when I travel, I end up lifting my finger and not digging into the fretboard, and only putting extra pressure when I arrive. So I do get this note, and you can hear it, but I don't have like all of this in between. The same thing here. You don't want... Because the whole thing is so delicate, right? You don't want to get some rug burn on your fingers and get all this extra noise just trying to get the glissando. The glissando is not the most important thing. It embellishes the notes, but you don't want all of the attention there. So that's something you'll have to practice to lighten your touch, and while you're traveling, and to apply the pressure again when you arrive at the note, so that you do get the pitch that you are arriving at, and you actually get the effect that the glissando and the grace note create. So I hope that was helpful and you got something out of this video that will help you learn this piece. And I will see you next time in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.